Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be covering a video Quantum TV made before the Act Man's Dark Day of YouTube video came out, because apparently Quantum TV doesn't know what the word slander means. Now, before we begin watching Quantum's video, I want to say that I should have done this video before the last one I did, but whatever. Anyways, let's get into it!
Over the last few months, I've been getting slandered and maliciously attacked by the audience of ReviewTechUSA, the Act Man, Mischief, and a few other YouTubers who wanted to run with the line, Quantum TV is a copyright abuser.
Well, Quantum, whose fault is it that you've been getting attacked and slandered over the past few months? You, bro! All you had to do to avoid this whole damn mess was simply take your L after failing to DMCA Act Man and Mischief's videos covering your shitty Elden Ring take. If you had just taken the L, this all could have been avoided. But what did you do? Basically, you literally pulled a digital homicide and tried to take down their videos by abusing the DMCA. Also, do you even know what the word slandered means? I seriously doubt it, so I'll put it up on the screen just now so that we can all see it. That Quantum is what slandered means, and it doesn't apply to you because Act Man backed what he set up with evidence. Before I let Quantum get back to telling lies, his side of the story, is that you'll see that he says YouTube vindicated him, but apart from the letter Act Man got back from YouTube, he doesn't show any other evidence of innocence. Another thing is that just because YouTube didn't punish Quantum, that doesn't mean he's innocent. Quite the contrary. But you'll see more of that later in the video. Now, you were saying, Quantum?
They've really been playing heavy into that, and today, YouTube has vindicated Quantum TV. Now, they won't come out and directly say that they were wrong and they completely created this slander campaign because they didn't like being told no. But that's exactly what happened, and I'm glad that YouTube finally did the right thing for once. And if we read what YouTube says directly, the most important thing is, after reviewing additional YouTube links that you sent us, our specialist team did not find any violations of our community guidelines standards.
Just because YouTube says that they didn't find any violations of their community guidelines doesn't mean that you're innocent, Quantum. It just means that YouTube is shit at doing their job, and to say that YouTube did the right thing for once is a complete falsehood. The YouTubers who are attacking you have a very good reason to, because you ran around and abused the DMCA takedown option, and as if that wasn't bad enough, need I remind you that you called a grown man's mother to get a hold of him while he was trying to contact you through both a live stream as well as a Discord call, means that the only possible reason that you would have called his mother up is because you were basically pulling a power move saying, I know where your mother lives, and if you don't want her to get hurt, then you better leave me alone or else she might get hurt. And he has the nerve to say that Act Man acts like a child. The hypocrisy on display here, man. One last thing to say here, and that is that if Quantum is truly innocent, where is his evidence? That which is asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence, folks. Remember that.
So basically, all that talk of all those other things that you claim that I've done, you're wrong.
And your evidence to support that claim is? You've been claiming your innocence an awful lot throughout these past videos, Quantum, so where's your fucking proof, you imbecile?
Remember when I told you all in the beginning, watch YouTube tell you what I already know? There's a reason I've been so confident this entire time, and it's because I genuinely have proof that I, A, was hacked, B, did disavow those tweets, and also in addition to that, I don't think you guys know this, YouTube doesn't mediate for off-platform stuff, so if you have a problem with me, you need to take it up with like Reddit, Discord, they can't be responsible for what happens on other people's platform, right?
Quantum, I don't understand why you didn't delete those tweets the instant that you got your Twitter account back. Just because you disavowed them doesn't mean you didn't post those tweets. They were linked to your YouTube channel when they were made, and only after you started getting called out for the homophobia and racism did you decide to delete them. In fact, ReviewTechUSA actually live-streamed those tweets, and only while he was live-streaming those tweets did they get deleted. In addition to that, notice how Quantum has not given proof that he was hacked. He constantly plays the My Accounts Were Hacked card, but he never provides evidence to back it up. And he has never once apologized or disavowed those tweets, no matter what he says. They were made while he was still controlling the account. Quantum, my Steam account was hacked several years ago, and when I got it back, I had proof that it was hacked. And as much as I hate to say this for the most part, I do agree with Quantum in that YouTube shouldn't be responsible for what goes on other people's platforms, but this is a special case. He has been spreading his homophobia and racism not just on Twitter and his Facebook page, but even here on YouTube, and that also goes against YouTube's TOS. So now, Quantum is now not just guilty of ban evading, He's also guilty of hate speech towards the LGBT community and people of mixed ancestry. Remember when he called the actress of Catwoman a half-breed? Which is a racial slur, by the way.
There's so much proof on my end that I refused to show you all because I knew how you would take it. And I tested you all. I put out a little bit of truth here and there. I released a phone call of me talking to the act man, being sweet as pumpkin pie to the mother. Calling her ma'am, saying, would you please put me in contact with him? I mean no malice.
First of all, Quantum, if there's so much proof on your end, you should have shown it. It would have caused this to end that much faster, but you didn't, which seems to suggest that you wanted this to continue. And how exactly did you test us? You didn't put out any truth, bro. This all goes back to burden of proof and that when you say something without evidence, it can be dismissed without evidence. Also, you calling the act man's mother hits you, Cuntum TV, in at least two different ways. One, you violated the two-party consent law because act man's mother never consented to having that phone call recorded. And two, this goes against not just YouTube TOS, but US law in general, as this is known as stalking as well as doxing. All you did was pull a power move, but I covered that earlier in the video, so there's no need for backtracking. I think we need to focus on your other bullshit.
I was genuinely trying to work things out. And you know what they did? They twisted it and said, veiled threats of violence and doxing, and I can confirm Quantum is threatening my mother. I would love to know what threats I made specifically, number one. And number two, if you genuinely felt like I was threatening you, why didn't you call the police? Why aren't the police involved? I've challenged you multiple times to call the police, and you haven't because you lied, because you were embarrassed that I called your mother. Now, some people might be watching and being like, why'd you even call this mother in the first place? This is a dispute between two men. If you saw other videos I've uploaded, I was receiving all kinds of death threats, black people hanging from trees off of nooses, and a litany of racist crap because of his videos, and they were all in the name of Act Man.
Quantum, you calling Act Mother to tell her grown man of a son to leave you alone means that you know where she lives, meaning that you doxed her, and telling her to tell her grown man of a son to leave you alone is a threat. It was done with malicious intent, and as I said before, it was a power move to intimidate Act Man. Furthermore, after this call went out, Act Man did call his local police department. He then filed a police report. He contacted a litigation attorney, and then he called the police in Quantum's County, meaning that Act Man didn't lie. And while I haven't seen the videos myself, I did see from Fratonka Plays an image of a black person hanging from a tree off a noose from one of those emails that you claim to get, Quantum. But how do we know that you didn't send those emails to yourself? Once again, burden of proof. Secondly, how do you know that the emails were sent by Act Man's audience in the name of Act Man? You seem to think, Quantum, that we should just believe you without evidence, but that ain't the way this unicorn works.
Now, I tried to reach out to him because surely no person can be this depraved. He surely doesn't know his audience is doing this, but he does know. Because upon finding that out, not only did him and Mischief just kind of allude to the fact that, oh, he could be sending this to himself with their attitudes and their behavior, but it's just kind of like twisting everything even further, which let me know that no matter what I said, this was going to constantly turn into paint him as the bad guy. So I didn't even try.
Quantum, no one is twisting anything to paint you as the bad guy because you have done that yourself. Furthermore, nobody with an audience as large as the Act Man's is going to know every little thing their audience does, and even with a small audience, you can tell them not to do something. That doesn't mean that they're going to listen. Oh, and I still need to see some proof of your innocence, which despite you saying in this very video that you're innocent because in your twisted little head, you somehow thought that YouTube not doing their job was your vindication when it is anything but. So now, not only do you have to provide the proof of you being innocent, you also have to give evidence that Act Man and Mischief are twisting what you say to make you look like the bad guy. Say it with me, folks. Burden of proof falls on Quantum TV's head and at his feet. The lying cunt.
If you're going to constantly say whatever you want, I know the truth, and when an unbiased party steps in, I know justice would be done. And that's exactly what happened here. Let me tell you what YouTube said. Regarding your claims of abusive takedown requests, I can also confirm our copyright team reviewed all the details you provided and determined that there were no violations. So, all that smoke that Mischief pumped up every single one of you guys' asses, talking about Quantum's a copyright abuser, YouTube in writing told you that you're wrong, and there was in fact no violation. They go on to say the copyright submissions made by the other creator were valid, and though they may have been rejected, they were a fair request for review.
Actman and Mischief aren't making things up, Quantum. You maliciously abused copyright takedown requests to remove videos talking about your shitty Elden Ring review because you can't handle someone not sharing your opinion on things. Justice hasn't been done on YouTube in a while, and it damn sure wasn't done here today, because if it had have been, then you wouldn't be on the platform, which goes back to the whole ban evading thing. Sorry to repeat myself on these videos, folks, but Quantum repeats himself so much, he's like a much worse version of DSP. Also, Quantum, just because YouTube says something doesn't make it true, especially not while an SJW like Susan is in charge of the platform. Also, notice how the email from YouTube states that while the submissions for the takedown were valid, they weren't. Firstly, what Actman and Mischief did falls completely within the realm of fair use. Secondly, YouTube itself states that in its TOS that whenever a video is uploaded to YouTube, you grant not just YouTube, but all content creators the right to do things with that video. They can't just re-upload it, but they can do all sorts of things with it. And the fact that you threatened Actman and Mischief with this despite that is frightening, to put it mildly.
So what this basically means is, YouTube told you about yourself. You basically went on the platform, you said, behind all your fans and all your reputation, I will get your channel taken down. That's what you said. That video has like over 1 million views on it. I know you must be very embarrassed that you couldn't get the job done. Neither could ReviewTechUSA with his YouTube contacts, apparently, and all the other people with their YouTube contacts. You guys have to understand, you are just users. You do not have the power to snap your fingers and point to YouTube and sick them on creators you don't like. This concept is something you're not understanding. YouTube is telling you you're wrong. You can say I'm a copyright abuser all you want. The company made those policies. You're on the YouTube platform now, and they told you no. There are no violations, and that was fair what he did.
Quantum, how many goddamn times do I have to tell you that just because YouTube says something doesn't mean they're right? It's especially true while Susan is in charge at YouTube. Another thing to consider in all this, Quantum, is that we have a very good reason, 2 of them at least, to try and get your channel taken down. All of them. One is the aforementioned copyright abuse, and several other YouTubers, notably Actman and Mischief, have both covered that one, as have countless others, and 2, you're scamming people for TV settings that literally look like shit. You are not a TV calibrator, you're a scam artist, and others have proven this one as well.
What more do you need? You can slander me all you want, but YouTube has spoken. This is like officially YouTube. So upon complete and total defeat, you would think they'd be like, I apologize, I was wrong. I genuinely thought, man, I thought he actually copyright abused, but he didn't. So to be fair, YouTube has spoken, they investigated, so I'll let it go. They can't let it go. So they're all making their videos now, and they'll continue to make their rounds and all that fucking crazy crap. But what gets me is like Actman basically goes full on Karen, saying like, I want to speak to your manager, Google, for the most part. In this response on Twitter where he goes, I'm going to use YouTube's own guidelines and throw the book at them. I did my homework, and there can be no misinterpretation of the facts. He has to be banned, otherwise this sets a terrifying precedent. A terrifying precedent that you can't just snap your fingers, point YouTube in the direction of somebody you want to destroy, and they, oblige? They give you your fake cancel culture? They give in to you being hateful because you feel like the world revolves around you. You feel like someone needs to answer to every little talking point you have.
Well, Quantum, when someone is as guilty as you are for violating so many YouTube TOS and guidelines, then yeah, someone needs to answer for them. That someone being Quantum TV and YouTube, you brainless cunt. Seriously, man. If YouTube doesn't ban you, then it does set a terrifying precedent. That precedent being, since you didn't name it and don't understand just how serious it is, I'll explain it to you. It means that literally anyone can break YouTube TOS and community guidelines, and even if it is something terrible and unforgivable, they'll still be allowed to stay on the platform. Also, Quantum, copyright abuse is one of the worst things you can do on YouTube, and to quote Mischief, there is one type of person that literally no community on YouTube will ever tolerate, and that is someone who falsely files DMCA takedowns. Furthermore, since Google makes all the decisions for YouTube, one of which is to put good old Mama Susan in charge, then they are responsible for making sure that all of the YouTube TOS and community guidelines are enforced, and if YouTube won't do it, then someone higher up at Google will have to. Anyways, after this, he basically goes on with repeating himself, saying that he has proof that he is a victim of identity theft and his account's being hacked, which he has yet to provide, by the way. He says that he shouldn't have to, but considering that he's lying further by stating that he's not ban evading, and since I can't actually get the Wayback Machine to work because my internet's being a cunt right now, I'll let Actman's video prove that he's ban evading.
Have you ever heard of the Wayback Machine, Your Honor? Quantum claims this link leads to the missing channel Apotheosis. So I asked myself, what would happen if I put this link into the Wayback Machine? There it is. Irrefutable evidence of ban evasion.
The fact that YouTube won't act on that makes me think that they've decided to just stop enforcing their policies on YouTube, or at least towards those who make them money. It's pretty frustrating, to say the least. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great day, okay?